What's going on, everyone? Blade here. Today I want to talk about something I don't think enough people are discussing inside of the community, and that's going to be the mistakes I keep seeing from in-game players in P5X. I'm not talking about your beginners, I'm talking mainly to the players who've been playing for months, have stacked accounts and multiple limited characters to boot, and still wonder why they're struggling to climb rankings, squeeze out more damage, clear SOS, or Astrolab. Funny thing is, most of these mistakes have nothing to do with luck or summons. They're simply just bad habits that slowly hold onto your account and keep you held back in future updates. Today I'm going to be covering 5 mistakes that I think some of the biggest accounts are having problems with, which can be a killer inside of current in-game. So let's jump into it. Number 1, stop ignoring your supports. This is probably the biggest mistake I see, and granted, I admit it is something that happens, even to me. Everyone loves big damage dealers, including myself, and every time a new DPS comes out, people immediately want to see showcases, see millions of damage, have the characters absolutely built perfect, but very few players get excited about building supports. Most of the supports we kind of just shrug off, and that is the problem. It's kind of backwards as well. Your support characters are what make the crazy numbers possible. They are what make your DPS shine. And if your buffer isn't invested, if your debuffer isn't built, if your navigator is underdeveloped, well then guess what? That shiny new DPS is not going to be reaching anywhere close to their actual ceiling for damage. That is an issue. I think a lot of players underestimate just how much total team damage comes from proper support investment, in which this is where a lot of people get kind of held back. We see this very often, whether it's the newer characters, whether it's the character that's out right now being Summer Puppet, and that is some of the issue. Instead of asking yourself, how can I make my DPS stronger? Look from a different outlook. Ask yourself, how can I make my entire team stronger? Which changed the whole availability of the entire question. Total 2 completely different questions themselves, and that is what makes a difference in your account. But with that out the way, let's go to our next mistake. Number 2, chasing perfect revelations. Now this one hurts. I know players who spend weeks trying to get absolutely perfect revelation sets, perfect substats, perfect rolls, perfect everything, and this is a little bit of a problem. I used to do this back when 4.0 kind of came out, especially when it was coming down to my Makoto Yuki, and meanwhile, while doing that, most of your roster still has unfinished gear, they're not leveled, they're not having that efficient progression that they really need to do as a whole. If this is one of the things that you struggle with, I do suggest a lot of you guys to try to at least go for more mediocre sets. You don't have to have the best of the best. If you can hit close to your actual damage markers, if you can hit close to your stat caps, I think that can be decent enough. You don't need to have absolutely perfect builds in order to get the best out of your character. In fact, just the benchmark is kind of more than enough, and just being a little bit off is more than enough as well. You want to make sure that any character can be as good as possible as long as they have these set. If you're able to do what you're already doing and just get a little bit close, that will help you a lot more. The difference between having a 95% perfect build and a 100% perfect build is actually much smaller than the difference between having 5 completed characters versus only having 2. I've had this problem on multiple units. There's actually some units even on my TW account. I'll probably put one right on my screen right here that is still not done. Characters such as my Closer Radiance, I looked at there, tried to build a little bit, but never got it completed, and that was because I was really focusing on other units with perfect build sets. Do not do this. It actually can hurt your account a lot. Progress your account first, min-max later. Try not to trap yourself into chasing perfection while your overall roster is still lacking. That's a huge issue, and it will hurt you quite a lot. But before we go ahead and get into our next mistake, let's go ahead and pay attention to our sponsor today, being Lootbar. Lootbar.com is a top-up website that is trusted, secure, and immensely cheaper than most in-game stores, which many of you may have heard inside of multiple gacha communities. Not only are they amazing at what they do, but they're also pretty darn quick, and if you really want to save up to like 20% off on most of your game's currency or in-game items, this might be the place you want to go. Now, I normally use this for most of my games, or my main ones being 7DS Origins and P5X, and the way they usually do this is by using the official top-up channels, unlike unauthorized sellers do. Everything is pretty much a nice way to get you something cheaper here while also getting you a little bit extra for your buck. That's always something I like to do, and as a person who is a little bit of a cheapskate, I will do everything I need to do in order to get my packs for the cheapest price I can. They're pretty effective and quick, so if you want to save some extra bucks while enjoying your game, this may be the way to go. I practically use them all the time, and if you'd like to go ahead and do so as well, you can make an account or continue on your current account, and I'll have my link down below. So if any of you guys are really interested, be sure to click that link down below and you should get some discounts just like mine's above here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. If you decided to support, thank you once again, and let's go ahead and get back to the video. Mistake number 3, your turn order matters more than you think. This is something a lot of players completely overlook, and I don't blame them. It's very time consuming, it's very annoying, but they do build their amazing characters. You can all go ahead and build your amazing characters, have great gear, amazing awarenesses, tons of cool weapons, but this all falls apart and falls flat if your speed tuning makes no sense. Imagine you're doing your DPS turn, right? Well, your DPS goes first, then your buffer goes afterwards, then you have your debuff. That when it makes sense, right? It kind of falls apart. Congratulations, you kind of just missed your damage window and you missed your setups perfectly fine, which is not good. That's not something you really want to have. There are some characters like Yusuke Kitagawa that does need to be first. He benefits of it because he has counterattacks. Most DPSs do need to go fourth, and you want to make sure that they're in their right speed tuning order. So that's not good if they're going anywhere first and stuff like that, because it is going to hurt you a lot. Or let's say your debuffer, for example, applies the defense down after your burst damage. Well, you lost damage again. That's going to be another problem. So you have to make sure every character, even though it is a little bit time consuming, that you have them in the correct turn order. Example for this, which goes for a lot of teams themselves, is usually having your buffer or debuffers in number 1 and number 2 spot. If there's a person such as like Cord who would benefit being number 3, you keep her in the number 3 area. But usually your sub DPS, extra buffer, extra debuffer, or even your sustainer will be in that 3rd slot. If it's not in the 3rd slot, there's someplace in the 1st and 2nd. So always buffers, debuffers, sustainers, those will be in the 1 through 3 slots. Your DPS is always going to be near the end, because once you get them all buffed, you have them sustained, they're all secure, you can then go for that burst damage that you're looking for. These little mistakes add over the course of just the entire fight, and you can easily notice when you're actually going to start losing a fight if your turn order is not adjusted. Sometimes simply just adjusting who moves first can increase your overall damage without even changing a single piece of equipment. That's free value, and you want to take as much promise of this as possible. So look into that as well. But we're going to move on to our next mistake. Number 4, people undervaluing Wonder and his personas. Now this one has become more obvious as the game has went on. It's definitely been something that players are pouring all the resources they can into characters. They're really just getting personas, but they're not really investing into their personas. That is a huge mistake. Wonder isn't just your another unit here. He is your character that kind of melts everything together. He is your flex unit. He's your toolbox. He is your emergency answer to mechanics. The better personas you have, the better options you have inside of your battle. Whether it's different inherited skills, different elements, different utilities, all of this can actually add up over time and make your Wonder even better. If you guys want another video that's going to go over Wonder himself as well as some personas, let me know down below in the comment section and I'll try to get that done as well. But Wonder does make a huge point into your team as well. He's one of your few characters that has a huge flexibility slot, and if you are missing out on maybe some heals, he can go ahead and do that. If you want extra debuffs because you have a team full of buffers to be like a hyper carry team, you can very well do something like that. Heck, if you just want an extra damage dealer and want to have some fun and use DPS Wonder, you can do that as well. This character comes up with everything, and all of it derives off of your personas. If they have the right stats, if they obviously have the right move sets, they will be a lot better. I've seen this on multiple accounts. They'll have absolutely good rosters, tons of incredible characters themselves, and then they get held back simply because their persona setups are underdeveloped. This can also go for your stats that you're transferring to your other characters themselves, which he kind of can act like a Navi in that turn point as well. But this character is allowing himself to meld that whole team together, and that's what you really want to go ahead and keep in mind there. Don't neglect Wonder. He is one of your strongest systems that you have in the entire game, and you want to make sure he's valued. But with that out the way, let's go to our last mistake. Lastly, stop wasting your weekly progression. Now, I'm not gonna act like I'm some saint with this. You guys have seen my level multiple times on my videos, on my streams, and it's kind of easy to know that I miss my weekly progression quite often. In-game progression isn't about just what you do, it's about what you don't forget to do. Whether it's weekly resets, guild content, event shops, limited rewards, boss attempts, where it comes down from just your dailies, all of these things can stack over the months. And for people like me who are on TWKR and CN, where obviously we have a 3-week schedule, it can be a big problem. You guys on Global are still on the 2-week schedule, and that can be even more of an issue, seeing that's less time to get your events done, less times to get those limited time event like gems, and all of that stuff can really stack up. Missing 1 week, yeah, maybe not a big deal. But if you start missing 5 to 6 weeks of worth of resources, even if it is just in a few months, even if it's like, okay, every 3 months you maybe miss something like that, or even in a year you start being like, I missed a total of a month, that will add up. A lot of that time that you start to miss out, you wonder why other players are a little bit stronger, why they're higher level, what's happening with the small marginal damage and the small marginal buffs that we maybe get from our wonders. In-game is more of a marathon. It's not too much of a sprint that a lot of people think it is, who is just shooting up to the highest levels they can be. You want to make sure that the strongest accounts, they're not only of course just the luckiest, but they're the most consistent. Consistency is key inside of in-game, and if you really want to go ahead and make sure you get the best out of it, you want to make sure you have this. People log in, they use their stamina efficiently, they finish their weekly content, they buy the important shop items, and then they repeat. By having this consistency, it does snowball over time and makes things a lot better. With that out the way here, those are 5 mistakes I genuinely think hold back a lot of in-game players, even people with stacked accounts like myself. And honestly, I think every single one of these mistakes are fixable. You don't really need to have any insane luck, you don't need to make sure that your characters are duped out, you don't need every limited unit in the game. Sometimes all it takes is changing how you invest your resources, how you approach your progression, and all I really want to hear from you guys is, what's the biggest mistake that you think in-game players are still making in P5X? If anything, drop it down below in the comment section, even contact me on Discord. I'm up to go ahead and see exactly what everybody wants to see, and it makes me very curious on what everyone has their results into. If you enjoyed today's discussion, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.